What's going on, my brother?
Pretty good, bro.
Manu, thank you so much for gracing our. I've just met you this past weekend, and you're a Colonel Fellow, so it's been awesome to get to know you because I've seen your work and familiar with what you've been putting together. So it's just like it's amazing to bring this to this space and share some time and space with you this weekend.
Thank you so much for hosting me and for having me here, man.
Yeah, please feel free to introduce yourself. This is the Web3 Weavers podcast, Weavers of Web3. So, you're definitely a weaver, and I'm just like excited to dive in.
Yeah, so my name is Manu. I'm originally from Venezuela. I've been working in the tech industry since I'm a kid. I started by building websites and also by buying stuff online. And I was doing arbitrage without me knowing that I was doing arbitrage. So just buying stuff and reselling it.
Right.
Did that during my high school years and also during my university years. And then, when I was in university, I started to build websites for also different professors and stuff like that. And I became a mechanical engineer, and I started working in the oil industry. And there, when I was working in the oil industry, basically I realized what's really going on in our world and how basically we are living in an extractive world and not let's say a positive game world. I didn't want to be part of it after really understanding what was going on and understanding like all the political powers and how they work. I just didn't feel that was my place to be. And on top of that, obviously, there's a lot of pollution and a lot of things are not really aligned with my values. But when you're young, people tell you that being an engineer in the petroleum industry it's great because it pays really well. I didn't feel that it was aligned with my values, so
there was no purpose there. Right?
Yeah, no purpose. So I left. Then I got back into activism. I was, protesting back in Venezuela for freedom of speech and also for property rights.
Yeah.
And essentially that got me into a lot of trouble. So
dive in, please. Be vulnerable if you want to.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't have to share that.
No worries. I have no problem with sharing this.
Hey, I've been in trouble too, so like I've been vulnerable about it as well because I'm certainly doxxed. And it's important for listeners to kind of hear the journey.
Yeah.
How you got there and like.
Well, in my university, there were a lot of people that actually wanted to protest and try to fight for freedom of speech and property rights and basically claiming back also our country. But that got me, as I say, into a lot of trouble because I was like one of the organizers in my city. The people that are linked to the government started to call my family and tell them that they were going to kidnap me or that they were going to kill me. Actually, like one of my cousins got kidnapped, one of my best friends got kidnapped, then killed. A couple of friends, were put in jail just for expressing their opinions and just for, being themselves. I decided to, leave the country after my parents were always worried about me. And, they actually helped me out to leave the country. And I went to Europe, and in Europe I started working again in the tech space, building websites, and then after that I got hired by a company called Rocket Internet. And Rocket Internet is kind of like a venture builder, and what they do is they do arbitrage of ideas. So they
bringing you back to, your childhood where you talk about arbitrage.
Yeah, but this is a different type of arbitrage.
It's like almost stealing.
Yeah, well, not really, okay. But kind of.
I'm just throwing that. Maybe that was a hard S.
They will, find an idea that works in the U.S. or that works in Europe or somewhere else in the world, and they will bring it to a new place in the world and basically enable these new people to access this new type of service. And so what we did there what Rocket Internet was doing in Africa was basically copying Amazon, copying eBay, copying Booking.com, Uber Eats, and all of these different organizations, and having them under one brand, which was called Jumia. I personally was working on the travel part of it, and I was leading like the mobile team there, and basically spreading the mobile application in Africa. But essentially what happened is that I didn't feel that it was completely aligned with my values, because there's a lot of value extraction and not value creation, and there's no giving back to the communities. I decided to leave, and then after that I started working for Microsoft and AXA. I was leading the product and also the marketing team, basically for an app that was connecting patients and doctors using machine learning and chatbots, and did that for some time. And then after that, I realized the power of crypto thanks to a friend of mine when he showed me that
Always
you could.
Comes down to a friend. That one friend.
When he showed me that you could transact without having a middleman, and that blew my mind. And that's when I said, okay, I really need to dig into it, and I started learning more and more.
Into the development side, right? Into kind of a little bit more of the coding, or
So I started to learn what was really behind the scenes. And I found this super powerful. I at that point I went, let's say, all in into the space. I just wanted to be around people that share the same or very similar values to me. This was the perfect place.
And so where did you go? So that in that initial epiphany, where did you start looking? Where did you start to uncover more doorways?
I realized that one of the problems that humanity has is that humans don't own Earth. It's owned by
Earth. Earth is owned by Earth.
What I mean by that, when I say that, is that Earth is being owned right now by individuals and by corporations, and by states, but not by humanity. So when I started to understand that, thanks to a friend of mine, by the way, this same friend, he told me about how the whole world, the biggest asset is real estate. So I got super interested in how we can actually tokenize real estate and give it back to communities, and essentially having ownership of land, essentially empowering humanity, and empowering people from Venezuela, from South Africa, Zimbabwe, or anywhere where their currencies were a little bit shitty, to essentially put money into a more stable asset, which is real estate, because real estate doesn't disappear. And then the idea was, to have a more stable currency in one way that also generates some sort of yield or some sort of money back to those that contributed to the purchases of the land or the purchases of the real estate. Then realized that that there's a lot of bureaucracy for making this a reality. I believe that probably we were 10 to 20 years too early, maybe. And then I decided to start working with DAOs. And when I say working, I mean just contributing. I was not being paid at all. I was just contributing to things that I like and that I care about.
How are you contributing? Were you writing blogs? Were you
I was basically
connecting people?
Yeah, I was basically connecting people, also helping with token economics, with governance, and also with fundraising, let's say growth strategies, product strategies, and I was just helping different projects that were aligned with my values. And then after that, I also joined an organization that is called the DAO. Help them out, let's say, with advice into any project that came out of there that wanted to receive any advice in terms of growth. I would just help them out. Also, I'm one of the Meta Cartel members.
Cool.
So I've been, helping fund projects that we care about without receiving any shares or anything. We're just giving grants with our own money.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so did that. Also help out with API 3 DAO, which is a DAO that is focused on creating decentralized APIs and creating more, let's say, open source infrastructure. And currently, I'm working on a project called DoinGud, and
this is where it gets good. This is where it gets good.
And DoinGud is essentially a protocol for social good.
Okay.
And it's currently starting as a let's say, NFT marketplace for creators, where they can come in and they can tokenize their creations in the form of NFTs and stream money to social causes that they care about. And the idea is that by doing that, all the different participants of the ecosystem, like the creator, the collector, and also the curator, could receive some rewards. And those rewards are essentially this type of token that will enable them. We have in mind that it could be some sort of curation for all the different social causes that get listed within the protocol. So, for example, if a social cause is not doing what they say they're supposed to be doing, we can just kick them out of the registry, and we can add and remove like different causes depending on what we want to fund. So, for example, let's say that there's a disaster that happens in somewhere in the world, and we want to, maybe a hurricane happen. And
share resources.
Yeah, and we just want to share resources there, so we can curate a gallery, and artists could donate their art, or maybe they could donate a percentage of their sale. And essentially, we can just create a campaign for funding, things that humanity needs.
Yeah. And highlighting, I think one of the things that's super important about these NFT platforms is that each one is able to use its brand to highlight up-and-coming artists.
Oh yeah,
like the artist that has no idea what an NFT is. Never, we're still early. There are still people out there that, even though they've heard about this NFT thing, they're not here at ETH Denver. They're not soaking it in.
Yeah, and actually, like, one of the things that I realize is that we are all creators, and we all have something to give.
Right.
And not only,
even when we think we don't.
Yes.
And that's when we separate that net worth and that self-worth.
Yes, completely. And one of the things that I realize is that everyone is talking about enabling creators. And I completely agree that we should enable creators, but I also think that we should enable curators, who are the ones that create the narratives, who are the ones that connect the artists with the possible collectors, who are the ones that at the end of the day are actually creating some sort of value, but most of the time are not being recognized.
Maybe connecting the dots.
Yeah, just connecting the dots. Like, most of the time, the people that connect the dots, they don't get anything. So, we want to enable creators and also the super connectors to basically, find a way to share value.
You're almost bringing me to tears, bro. It's only recently that I really started to step more into my truth of just being like a connector, and that's one of the values that I bring, is bringing people together.
Bro, this is exactly what I've been doing for so many years, like bringing people together.
Yeah.
And this is the value that I think.
This is why you show up to conferences, y'all. This is why you show up to festivals, because you never know who you're gonna meet, who you're gonna be sitting and have a conversation with.
Yeah.
And we immediately formed a connection at MeowWolf, right? It was at MeowWolf, and it's just that's how it goes.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, we're gravitating towards each other, the people that have this sense of love, we're just vibrating, and we're essentially attracting each other.
So romantic, so erotic. Yeah, it's amazing. It's beautiful, and I want to close the loop a little bit and give people some knowledge and some more just lessons that you may have learned through the kernel project, and what might be, almost you're the truths of crypto, things that Web3 weavers that would wanna keep in mind as they keep on telling their stories. What are those mantras that you always think
so
about?
one of the things that I really like about kernel is that they have this type of content that actually makes you think outside of the box, and also that enables you to value other things that maybe you never even consider. Also, it tells you a little bit more about the history of money, the values, like what is value. Also, coordination games. It's a program that it has, I believe, incredible amount of resources for people, to actually open their heart and open their mind and connect with each other and also share experiences, because that's actually why we're here in this universe. It's not to find the meaning of life, but actually to find experiences that make us feel alive. And this is, to me, one of the things that attracted me the most.
Yeah, you're bringing me to tears. Like I said, this is amazing. Well, Manu, where can people find you? How can people follow your journey and keep up? You mentioned the social platform, but no pressure there.
Yeah. Well, you'll find me in most of the conferences. You'll find me in person, right? Yes, you'll find me in person in most of the conferences. You'll find me.
Just show up.
And you'll find me online anywhere with the same username. And it's Manu, MANU, and then Alzuru, ALZURU, Manu Alzuru, and anywhere you can find me like that.
Perfect, amazing, and I'm sure there are people tend to find each other, like when people are listening to this, and like I said, I had already dialed your platform and was like, this is something, these are some people I want to know.
Thank you so much for having me here, brother.
Of course. Take care, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.